Just letting you guys know you can listen to my No Bleeps podcast anywhere you stream podcasts or on my No Bleeps YouTube channel. Link in the description. Hey guys, it's Billy and welcome back to Sesh. Today there is some crazy stuff going online with Trisha Paytas, Ethan Klein, Keemstar. This is a very insane situation and one that a lot of people are extremely disappointed by. And it's kind of the biggest drama that has happened in a while because Trisha is going back and forth with different people on Twitter, responding on TikTok to all of this. Ethan is coming out. Ethan's mom is coming out. Keemstar is coming out and talking about this. This is really insane. So let's get right on into it. Basically, earlier today, a bomb was literally dropped on Twitter when Keemstar posted a photo that he was with Trisha Paytas and FaZe Banks, and they just recorded a podcast episode together. And the tweet was, just recorded frenemies next to at Mom's Basement, only on Spotify. And there Trisha is. A lot of people were trying to deny when they first saw the photo that Trisha was in this photo. They thought maybe it's somebody else, but that is Trisha. Trisha confirmed on Twitter that this was in fact true, and people noted that Trisha was even wearing a frenemies zip up for this. Now, for those of you that don't know the relationship between Keemstar and H3, it's a long, horrible, just very bad past. These two are truly enemies. They do not like each other. Keemstar has said very terrible things about Ethan and Hila, especially calling her a horse. I mean, the things that have gone on between the two of them is literally equivalent to if Ethan had gone on David Dobrik's Views podcast. Honestly, that's truly just how a lot of people online are viewing the situation. That by Trisha going on Keemstar's podcast, Trisha has betrayed Ethan, and this is something that Trisha would never allow. If Ethan did this to Trisha, the world would literally explode. But Trisha is here and is trying to defend themselves from the situation, trying to justify going on Keemstar's podcast. Trisha was answering a lot of people's comments on TikTok and went on a extremely long rant as to why they went ahead and did this podcast, why they gave Keemstar a chance to talk it out. And there were so many TikToks, you guys, so many TikToks.
Everyone take things so personally and think they're personal attacks. When I'm my own person, I go on people's podcasts. It's what I did before. It's what I do now. It's what I do, period. Me going on another person's podcast does not mean I'm pro them. I like to have discussions with people, especially about people I disagree with. I like to have open discussions. I like to clear air. Again, that's how I met Ethan, was when he did a video trashing me. I tried to go on Gabby's podcast to make some sort of peace. But I've always gone on people's podcasts. I need to stay relevant. That's how my job has worked. I've gone on everyone's podcast, and I'll go on Jeff Wittick's.
And then the tweets began. Trisha said, me and Keem have beef / me and FaZe had beef. I go on podcasts to talk and try and find peace with people. I did it with Ethan. I went on H3 for the first time ever after he did a video saying I looked like a corpse, a WWE wrestler, etc. And I think he's changed since then. I went on Gabby's podcast after she told my boyfriend at the same time I had herpes to try and get closure, to see if she's changed her mindset, to spread awareness about why lying about STDs is super dangerous. That one didn't go so well. People are so quick to judge. You think I'm gonna go on Keemstar's pod and not call out his behavior? Like, what? Then you guys, Ethan tweeted out the photo of all of them together and said, I'm not even gonna front or try to be funny. This just really makes me sad. And Ethan's mom replied to him in this tweet and said, what I'm feeling doesn't fit the words. She's such a weasel. And of course, Trisha replied to this and said, what you texted Moses is the most evil thing to ever put out into the universe. If I'm a weasel, you are Satan for even putting that energy out there. You're an evil woman to write what you wrote. It's unspeakable. To put that burden on me the way you did is the worst karma. And went in to further elaborate this alleged text message that Ethan's mom sent to Moses about Trisha, saying, what Ethan's mom texted Moses after our fight was the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. I'm tormented with it daily. I won't even speak what she wrote because I refute that energy. That negative bad energy is something that paralyzed me then and now. I'm biting my tongue. I'm holding it the best I can. Ethan ran my mom and sister off social media for literally one TikTok she deleted instantly and still has it up on his channel. His parents degrading me, insulting me still, fine, whatever. But the text she sent Moses was something only the devil himself would cast upon anyone. I'm livid. I'm angry. I've been carrying this evil, ugly burden she placed on me, blaming me for an unspeakable thing. She's evil. I just have never encountered anyone to put such an evil burden on me. A curse, something to even write unfathomable. So somebody replied to all that Trisha was saying with this. Trish, take that up with Donna, Ethan, and Moses privately, please. Not everything has to be a social catastrophe. I love you, but at some point, this has to chill. Think of Ela and Moses for a minute. And Trisha said, I'm trying my best, but I'm not gonna be a pushover. They talk about me on the pod. I've tried to be the bigger person. Talking about my wedding and my relationship today, get the out of here. She is evil, and I am refuting that energy here and now. This whole thing is so insane, you guys. Trisha is saying that Ethan's mom sent this text message to Moses about Trisha, and I can only imagine it has something to do with Trisha being not good for the family or something like that, with the way that Trisha is somehow describing this text message, especially if this text was sent right after the frenemies fallout. There's a lot of people in agreement that this all should be held privately, all of these conversations, because they are family. They are literally about to be, at least Moses and Trisha are getting married, and they have such bad blood within the families, and that's just not okay. That's not good at all. And situations like this just make it worse. And obviously there's a lot of people calling Trisha out saying, why are you the one that acting like you're so hurt? Why are you acting like you're the victim in this situation when you chose to go on Ethan's enemy's podcast? Suddenly you don't understand why people are mad. The way Trisha is, if Ethan even dared to do the same, it just would be a war. Somebody replied to Trisha saying, Ethan is family. Keem and him do not have the best past, and you just don't do that to family. Sorry, girl, but you're wrong again. Imagine Ethan having Gabby or Ryland on H3. You would be posting a 10-part reaction on every platform, and your heart would hurt. Trisha was literally so upset that Shane and Ryland allowed Jeffrey to be on their podcast because Trisha was no longer friends with Jeffrey. And so for them to have him on the podcast was like the worst thing, and they felt so betrayed.
The least he could have done was, take down the pod, because I brought up this podcast, this stupid one, the Sip or whatever, that was like, I'm like, you having Jeffrey on there and like gushing over him like he's God, like when you know he's an awful person, he's vile.
You told me. He's told you that he thinks he's vile.
Yeah, and then see him on the podcast, and the least he could have done is like, you know what, let's just delete that podcast. It's still up. It's like, I don't expect you to defriend him. That's your cash cow. That's where you're getting your money still from the pallet or whatever. But it's like, it's just like there's nothing. He never once offered any like I don't trust it.
So Trisha's shocked all of a sudden that Ethan is hurt. Trisha then goes on to talk further about Ethan, saying, Ethan bullies and drives my sister off the internet for one TikTok she instantly deleted. Also, Ethan gives his platform to his parents on me and everyone. He is a hypocrite and can't admit it. Ethan making fun of Crowder for having his dad as his booker. Also, Ethan having his mom and dad fight his battles. I'm logging off. I don't care what anyone says or thinks. I don't care anymore. I went on a podcast. It's not even out and everyone's losing their... I defended Ethan on this pod. In many ways, people are so quick to judge and send hate. And obviously, Trisha did not log off. They continued by saying, they did a whole episode comparing me to my biggest trigger, Gabby Hanna. Put us in the thumbnail title, compared us. But I talked to someone he doesn't like. Let's send the hate mob my way. Ethan's fan base is so unbelievably toxic. It's actually scary. Like, for real, I'm not gonna be run off the internet. I've been doing this 15 years now, long before any of these people. I'm my own person, then, now, and forever. You talk about me, I'm allowed to talk about you. That's how the internet works. Yes, your fan base is louder and bigger and more vocal, but it doesn't scare me. I've been through this before with another cult and I survived that. I'll survive this. Something that I would like to say is Trisha is talking about, if you talk about me, then I'm allowed to talk about you. And I can only assume that is the defense of Trisha being like, you and your mom on families are talking about me and my life, so I can talk about you. There's so many people replying to this saying Ethan is not calling you the devil. When Ethan made the video response to Trisha's sister, that was him defending himself because Trisha's sister was calling him cheap, saying he didn't want to pay for Trisha's birthday dinner, didn't want to pay for tickets to Disney, and he felt the need to explain himself. So that was a simple situation of, you talk about me, I'm gonna reply. And that's what he did. He replied to her calling him out. And Trisha's obviously really upset that Ethan replied to the sister because she deleted what was said. But I think at the same time, in Ethan's mind, he's probably like, people have downloaded this video, people are going to see this video, and I need people to know that I am willing to pay for Disney. I'm willing to pay for Trisha's birthday dinner, but they didn't want me to, and don't make me look bad if that isn't true. And it's clear that Trisha's defense for going on Keemstar's podcast is like, hey, I've gone on my enemy's podcasts before. That's how Literal Frenemies was born, and that's why I went on Gabby Hanna's podcast. But the issue there is that, yeah, Trisha, you might have issues with those people, but you going on Gabby Hanna's podcast didn't affect your personal relationships with family. Going on Keemstar's podcast literally does that. And I think that's the main point that people are trying to make towards you, that, yeah, you could go on Keemstar's podcast. Great. You're going on an enemy's podcast. But the issue comes in when you factor in who is in your life and the respect level that you have for your own family or your soon-to-be family. People are questioning that because you're going on Keemstar's podcast. Nobody would care if Ethan was not about to be your brother-in-law. So that's simply the situation. I definitely want to know what you guys think about this situation because it is absolutely crazy insane, and this is some serious family drama. So let me know in the comments down below. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.